All right. Let me get everything set up. Happy Sunday, everybody. Oh, shoot. I need to get this streaming on YouTube Shorts. YouTube Shorts. That's something we need to do. Broadcast, Method, go live. Using OBS. Stream YouTube account. Stream will automatically appear in the Shorts feed. Huh. Perfect. If the resolution is not that, it will not appear in Shorts feed. That's too bad. We'll have to fix that at some point. Anyway, today we have some fun stuff to work on. Today we are going to be working on trails. I think we're finally in a position where we'll be able to get the trails coming off the wingtips pretty well. In all honesty, I don't plan for this to be a very long stream, but nonetheless, it will be a pretty cool one. So yes, last time we got this afterburner mesh added, which right now is just a cone, but it scales depending on whether you have your throttle on afterburner or not. And once I texture this thing, it'll work. Brake now actually functions. Slows you down a lot. Hello again. I recognize your username. Yellow Mexicanos. What's up, dude? Brake works. We have G-forces now, and they're actually fairly accurate, I would say. Like if you're moving really fast and you like full afterburner and you make a full 360, you pull like 13 Gs. But if you look at how tight of a turn this plane just made, that's not entirely unrealistic. So, and then if you slow down, obviously, you know, you pull a lot less Gs when you turn. So this works pretty well so far. We also have some of the smoke plume effects going over the body of the plane. The problem is those are hard to see because they are currently just a mesh that I scale depending on how many Gs the plane is pulling. But occasionally you can see them, but I promise you they do. Yeah, see right there, you can kind of see them there. When I texture it, it'll be a lot more visible. Now, please note, I'll be eating lunch on this stream. I don't have a ton of time. So, this will be fun. So the way trails are gonna work. Trails are gonna be a mesh, a procedural mesh, like a trail mesh, generated in world space. So there will be no transforms applied to this mesh. I actually have the shader already kind of written. It's just a very standard, it's the same shader as like the flat shader here. The difference is it doesn't take in a transform because this mesh will be generated in world space. It will not be like a cube and then I apply a transform matrix to move it around. This mesh, wherever the vertices are, vertices will be in world space. So no need for the actual transformation matrix. Everything else stays the same. But it also means we need a different drawing method. So, let's see. I think actually there is this has transform method. If it has a transform, we'll upload it. The problem, yeah, we would want this to be in there as well. And then if there is no transform, we'll just upload the view. Yo, what's up, dude? Let's see, view. So this should get us halfway there. Okay. So I actually already have the mesh trails class kind of made. With shaders already managed by our global shaders, which change I made off stream Shaders are now not handled by, I realized that I was like recompiling a shader for every object that was using a shader. So if I had like 2 terrains, the way the engine worked previously, there would be 2 separate terrain shaders being compiled. That's wrong. We only need 1 terrain shader. The meshes can both use the same shader. So now all the shaders are managed by the back end. You can still manage them manually. So aircrafts, do you use AI to make this game? No. So far, no AI. And I plan to keep it that way. The only thing I've used AI for is like the cube vertices. Like I needed to generate a procedural cube, and I did not memorize the UVs and indices of a cube, so I asked AI for that. And I think there's been a few, there was one bug. It was like a floating point error bug, and I did have to turn to Claude to help with that, just because I could not, like there wasn't really any way for me to debug it. It was something in the fact that using a web browser in OpenGL ES was adding some floating point errors. So I was able to fix those 2 things, but I'm trying to avoid AI usage. So the issue here is we're creating a quad mesh. That's wrong. The trail will be, we probably want to have like a certain number of points, like joints for this trail. So there probably should be like a int, what was it? Oh, it's an unsigned int. And it'll be like trail resolution. So a really low resolution trail will not have a lot of like bendable points within it. Although, do I really want that to be dynamic? We'll see. We'll see. For now, we'll just set it to like 4. There will be 4 joints along the trail. We'll create a quad, but we'll update it. What's not going to be fun? Trying to think how we could do this. So we could just have a trail mesh, and I'm trying to think, how can we make the illusion that it's like being procedurally regenerated as the plane moves? Because we don't actually want to be adding and removing vertices. That's kind of a computationally intensive. Like, here's an example of what I'm talking about. The exhaust, the aircraft exhaust. Uh-oh. Yeah, that sometimes happens. I don't know why the heck that happened, but it did. The terrain just vanished. Shouldn't happen. I'll have to figure that out later. Wait a minute, why is it gone completely? What the heck? Oh. Yeah, I see why. It's the changes I made to the rendering. We'll add all that back, and then it's in the terrain. There's a begin draw mesh transform. It does have a transform, so it has transform. Is this by default false? By default it should be true. We should not, like, most things will have a transform. But basically the way, like, the particles, the exhaust particles for this plane work, if you look at them, you know, it looks like we're generating some like particle system. That's an illusion. This is a series of quads, but the quad at the very end, like the very end of the particle system, when it hits the end of its lifetime, I simply move it back to the front of the exhaust stream. So we're reusing the same mesh. Like, there's no new meshes being made or deleted in this process. It's just one mesh, and I'm moving the vertices around and whatever. And it's like a mesh pool I have, basically. There's a maximum amount of meshes available to use. If you want to add a new mesh to the smoke effect, wait till one of the existing ones goes away and just move it to the beginning. So I'm trying to do something like that for the trails as well, so that we don't have to regenerate anything. The way we could do that, so whiteboard, let's get the whiteboard out just so I can visualize this. So we have like, all right, let's go. I don't need that. If we have like a wingtip, okay, this is a plane, you know, the plane, this is the body of the plane over here. This is the wingtip. We will have like a mesh that goes off the wingtip. Now, ideally, this mesh will get shorter towards the end because it's like a smoke trail. But really what it will be is it will be a quad mesh. Well, a couple quad meshes like attached to each other. And the distance of these two vertices will gradually decrease over time. Like there will be two vertices here that are just really, really close together. The thing is, as the plane moves, like, can I move things randomly? Yeah, lasso tool. Uh-oh. As the plane moves forward, these are going to stay in place. So I'm trying to think, how can we, like, what we would have to do if we aren't reusing vertices is we would have to create two new vertices here now, let them sit in world space, and then delete these vertices at the end, which is not the way we want to do things. So one way we might be able to cheat this is if we simply like shift everything upwards, only not really. Did you program your, let's see, did you program your haircut to be this bad too? Dude, I do Air Force ROTC. They don't let me grow my hair out very far. So yeah, and the haircut, yeah, I know. You don't have to tell me. So no, I didn't. But who is this guy? I'm always sort of on guard to. Yeah. Okay. So how can we just reuse vertices efficiently? Like one way we could do it. Is we did I? Whoa. Sorry about that. We could like shift everything up. The problem is now that'll be visibly off, so we wouldn't actually be able to shift everything up. These vertices would move to like. How do we do this? This isn't as easy as I was hoping. Okay. I think for now we'll just generate a trail, because that's going to have to happen regardless. And then we'll worry about the details of this later. So initialize. How did we deal with the font rendering? Because we had some dynamic mesh stuff in there. So I just want to see how I did this. Specified a bunch of vertices, push back vertices, push back indices, and that was all we had to do. Okay. I don't necessarily want to do this on the stack, but that's okay. Initialize vector, vertex, vertices, std in vector, int, indices. This is like where I would probably use AI to generate a quad with like a certain number of vertices, because I don't want to memorize all of those details. So actually, that's probably what we'll do. We'll go to Claude, and Claude will make me the vertices. Make me a quad. Make me a mesh using, we'll give it some context. Like this, I just want you guys to make sure I use this responsibly. Make me a mesh. Let's explain some context. I am making an OpenGL game with fighter jets. I need you to give me a list of vertices and indices to make what? A trail mesh with four what? Like four bending points. What would those be called? That is essentially four quad meshes merged together in a line. Here is my code's definition of a vertex and index. And then I'll give it the font generation stuff, just so it's aware of kind of what I'm looking for. Yeah, we'll just give it this recompute mesh method. And it should be able to give me the general outline of like where the vertices and indices will go. I was waiting for it to say you're exactly right. This is a little more dynamic than it probably should be. Well, I'm not complaining. Quad length, quad width. We don't really need to worry about that. Vertices, indices. Okay, I think this should work. I'll leave all the comments because when people read this code, I want them to know that this was Claude. Listen, here's the thing. Using AI always feels bad, but it feels worse if you don't let people know that this is AI. Like, this is very clearly generated code. If someone was to read this code and say, hey, did you write this? I'd be like, no, I did not. This was Claude. So I leave all these comments in there so that people know. It's like stealing credit for something you didn't do. It feels wrong. And I refuse to do that. So, yeah. All right. How's it going? It's going pretty well. Oh, what's up, Danny? At this point, I'm like mostly aware of all the usernames who regularly watch this. You haven't seen this in a while, Danny, have you? Yeah, this is what we got so far. This tube at the end is an afterburner. Once I add like the visual effects to make it look like an afterburner, it will. Now it just looked weird. The braking now works. What else? We have a menu scene. We have a bunch of cool stuff. But what I need is these vertices to work properly. Now these will be at 0, 0, which is actually really low. But because this is world space, we should just be able to find it. Down at, oh, we can't find it at 0, 0. Shoot. X, Y, Z. We want our Y value to be, well, we'll have a float height. And we'll set it to like 5,000. It's pretty high up. Actually, where's our aircraft? .y equals what? 6,000. Yeah, that should work. So 5,000 would be ideal. Vertices .pushback position height. And this should generate our mesh really, really high up. And we should be able to actually see it now. Of course we can. Although, now that I think about it, we're not actually drawing it. That can cause some problems. Mesh, shader, what was it? Scene manager, active camera, and shoot, we still have to pass a transform in even if we don't actually have a transform, so that's not okay. You know what? We'll just pass in a random transform, like for now. We can go and refactor that later. For now, we'll just pass in a new transform and then false. There will be no transform. And draw mesh. Who is spamming the heart? Actually, I know exactly who's spamming the heart. Transfer, yeah, we can't just do that. What am I thinking? We'll just give it a blank transform. Oh my gosh. We'll give it T, and then I'll have to refactor those parameters in a second, because that's not good. Can't really see it still. Maybe there's more we have to do. Maybe I'm missing something here. What does our draw look like for most things? Begin draw mesh instance, end draw mesh instance. Maybe we can test if these are actually drawing by getting rid of, yeah, we can get rid of all of this stuff. For now, we'll just draw it to the screen. Like, it'll be painfully obvious if this is drawing or not. It appears to be drawing. Actually, what color should this be? Yeah, that's right though. So it is now, we know it is in existence, like it's being drawn. It's just where is it in the world? Maybe it's the back end, actually. Maybe it's that we are like culling the back. We should stop that. Graphics backend, set backface culling false. We don't want to cull any backface on this. Graphics, set backface culling true. And then what else? Okay, load. pile, come on. All right, still not totally visible. Let's just make it absolutely huge. Let's see. Like impossible to miss. And then from there we can refine. This is the hardest part, honestly, about working with this custom engine is like there's no way to interact with physical objects with like gizmos or anything. I need to add that at some point. Still not here. That's weird. Begin draw mesh. If it has a transform, we'll give it that. If not, we'll just give it the view. Projection has to stay the same. This should be in here. And then this is odd. It's not here. Maybe it's too high up. Maybe it is a little too high up. 500. We don't need it to be obscene. Where is this thing? It should be at 0. Is it not at 0, 0? Watch this thing just like appear off in the distance, like really, really far away. No, it's not here. Where is it? We've lost track of where this mesh is. UVs, position, quad width, 5x2, height, Z. What are we setting our Z to? Quad length. 100. Get just even bigger. Okay. This thing is just going to be a giant square in the ground. Let me quickly flip the mouse controls. There's one bug I have to fix at some point with the mouse controls. Okay, let's crash and go really high up in the air really quick. Okay, there we go. We're gonna just fly straight up. And let's just see, is there anything visible? Like, how big is the terrain even? How? Do we need? No. Like, how big is the terrain in this case? Terrain resolution. 100. Terrain size. Okay, so the terrain's absolutely colossal. So let's just do the same here. And then we'll set this to like 2,000 because the plane is 5,000 up. Are you kidding me? I mean, where the heck is this thing? Maybe we should stop drawing the terrain, honestly. Maybe that's what we do. We temporarily will just get rid of the terrain. Yeah, that's a good idea. It's probably not a good idea, but it works in this case. All right, build. So this thing just doesn't exist. Could it be somewhere in the shader that we're messing things up? Like, what if we just got rid of the view? Trails, view, just worry about the projection for now. So that doesn't work. What if we just got rid of the projection? I mean, where the heck is this thing? What if we just generate a cube at this point? Oh, I'm an idiot. I'm an absolute idiot. Fool among fools. Update mesh. Mesh vertices.data, vertices.size, indices.data, indices.size. All right, maybe this will now just make everything look really weird, but maybe it'll work. Okay, now I bet you those shader changes I made are not helping anyone. All right, let's see. Yep, there it is. Of course, it's messing up the alpha, like the transparency of these quads, but I know why that's happening. Okay, so that is working, sort of, a little bit. We also should make these white. These need to be white smoke plumes. Mesh.material.color.value. Or was it albedo? No. Equals geom vec3. Wait a minute. What is the material type? Material. I think it's just a vec3 albedo. Yeah, okay. Dot albedo equals vec3. And what is it? 1.0. This should be white. This should be significantly smaller. 100. The height is about right. We'll now redraw the terrain. Okay. That's better. This is a little low to the ground, so we'll keep it there. Terrain, we'll uncomment all that. There we go. Okay. Shadow color also should be white. We want this thing to just have zero effect with lighting, at least for now. Shadow color. Actually, wait a minute. We don't even. No, we are uploading it. And I learned the hard way that not uploading data to a shader or uploading data to a shader that doesn't actually get used is extremely unperformant. Like really bad. Most of the optimizations I made were just removing those kind of details. Okay. So that kind of works now. Now we need to make sure that these vertices are always wherever the plane is. Also, I can hear that the game has not been shut off. I can also close the whiteboard. Okay. This should probably be in its own method. We'll have it void update mesh. And then void aircraft trails update mesh. We'll just wrap everything in here so we can just call it whenever we need. Or rather, it should probably be like recompute, honestly. Recompute mesh. And then initialize recompute mesh. Okay. What? Do we not save? Recompute mesh. In here, recompute mesh. That should work. I bet you just didn't save it. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So we're now going to want this mesh to just always be with the plane. So quad width. We also want to just add the plane position. So we need a reference to the aircraft. Yeah, we do need a reference to the aircraft. Okay. Wait a minute. We can't have a reference to the aircraft because aircraft exhaust particle system. How did we handle it in here? Aircraft position. That's how we did it. Okay. So it was private. No, it was public. Okay. Aircraft. Well, GLM 3 aircraft position. We'll also probably need its orientation because this does matter. For now. Okay. So, and then we'll just add the aircraft position to that. Did we not name that? No, we did. So, what's the issue here? It's a Vec3. Expected. This is a Vector 3 constructor. We can just draw on Vec3. Okay. Maybe that fixes our issue. Maybe it's just something weird about how constructors are working. Yeah, it looks like it worked. Okay. Now this should just do nothing. Oh, yeah, because it's at 0, 0. So then in our aircraft method, we'll have to, let's see. We set the aircraft position. Let's see. Exhaust particles at aircraft position. Update. And then we'll do the same. Trails dot aircraft position equals transform dot position, and then that should work. Although update will make things weird. And then in the update method, just sub. Don't know for how long I can stay, but I'm here for it. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, this is I'm significantly more lazy about how I manage my channel when school's happening. I wish I didn't have to be, but I kind of do. Did I misspell something? Yeah, I did. All right. So something's off here. Now it's not wherever the aircraft is. Maybe there's something going... Yep, there it is. Ah, got it. It's because of the height. I know exactly what's going on. It's because we have this height variable, and we need to get rid of that. And then depending on that, we can now... Okay, now we actually have something to work with. This is way too wide. We'll also need like 2 of them. So the length, let's say it's like 50. The width, 10. Well, maybe like 5. This seems a little more. It's still too wide. And the trails of the trail length isn't. No, it's way too long. 25 and like 1. Let's try 1. That'll be pretty thin. But that's better. I think we can work with that for now. So now what we have to do. I know what we have to do. Okay. So in here, we will have to have like an offset for the wingtips. And then for this, we'll just pass in an array. Yeah. For now, it'll be that, and then wing tip R. 0. And then we'll update, let's see, roll rate. We'll put it below there. 3 wing tip L. Big 3 wing tip R. Although now that I'm thinking about it, the wing tips will have to be like offset with rotation. So that'll be a pain in the butt to deal with, but it's not terrible. I've done it already. I actually did implement something similar to this a long time ago in this engine, but I decided it wasn't performant enough. So I've kind of done all of this already at one point. Just not the procedural mesh. I did it with particles initially, which was pretty similar. And then, yeah, here's what we'll do. Take that. Thank you. I don't mean to, yeah. I think this will work. And then we'll have to test the offsets. What? Let's see. What was it? What was the term? It was trails dot aircraft position. And we'll have to, okay, so how are we gonna offset this? I'm just trying to think. We'll have to rotate this position based on like the aircraft. Oh, this is gonna be a pain. Oh, well, wait, will it? I think we have a rotate. There's a way we can do this, actually. I think there's a way to rotate a point with a quaternion. Rotate a point with a quaternion in GLM. I think there is a way we can just do, like, there's a built-in method for this. Rotated point, quaternion times original point. Well, wait, this point's in local space. But that still should work, actually. No, that makes sense. So it would be transform that rotation times resource dot settings dot wingtip L. That should just work off the bat. I don't want to speak too soon. But oh, it did not work. Must be member. Yeah. Did I misspell something? Wingtip, yeah. Those are not going to be capitalized. Compile that. This should work. Okay. Not quite. Oh, wait. These need to be offset. So wingtip L would be like one offset. Get a job. I'm in college, bro. Let's see. I'm working on it though. I will say that. I think this is working to a degree. I think that looked like it was kind of working. So it's offset by 5, which means this would be like -5. What do you mean, unk? Yep, that works. Look at that. It's kind of hugging the wingtip. But I think it's more like 6. And then it would be like backwards 2 on the aircraft. Notepad. What do you mean, notepad? I'm curious. Oh wait, I meant Z. I apologize for that. And this is also more like 7. For every aircraft I make, I'm gonna have to manually figure this out using like a similar method to what I'm doing now. So just know if I ever have to make a ton of aircrafts, before I ask Copilot, who the hell is this? I'm curious what on earth is going on. Let's see, and we'll set this back here. I think it's more like 3. Gosh darn it. I hate that I have to do this. That looks close enough. But I think it's a little far out. We'll just do 6. And then, there we go. That's pretty good. That's pretty solid. And then we'll need a second one too. Yeah. It shouldn't just be trails. Or we could manage it all within one, no. Well, we'll have 2 trail objects. Trails, left trails. And we'll have a right trails as well. And then we'll have to go and change everything. Gosh darn it. Let me just make sure. We want this to be case sensitive, but for now it's okay. Left trails. Trails initialized. Okay. Trails update. Trails.draw. And do we have an unload resources here? Unload. We don't actually have an unload resources method, I think, on trails, do we? Because we don't really have any. No, we do. We should add that anyways. Load resources. And then right trails. All right. Right trails. All right, and that'll be the left trails. This, and it'll be wingtip R, and then update. And then it should just be these last two methods to change. Right trails dot initialize, and then right. Wait a minute. Yeah, right trails equals aircraft trails, and then right trails dot load resources. That should work. We now should have what? Unload resources. We do have these, right? Wait a minute. Aircraft trails does not contain unload resources. Really? Oh, okay. Well, left trails. Yeah, we'll just remove this then. I mean, it makes sense. They're not... Wait a minute. They're creating their own mesh. They do need that method. Hold on. What am I talking about? That's a problem. Void unload resources, and then in draw void aircraft trails unload resources, and then graphics backend delete mesh. That should work. All right, now we're managing the actual trail mesh. There we go. So now we just need this mesh to actually work. Which should be a matter of like, I'm trying to think, how do we do this? How do we approach this issue? The heavy lifting is pretty much done at this point, like creating the mesh, updating it. Seems to work pretty well. Although, the vertices should, well, the trails should always face the camera. I'll do that later. So, how do we do this? How do we do this? Because we have a fixed number of vertices to work with. Whenever one of the vertices, we offset everything. Okay, so whenever one of the vertices at the end, we'd have to shift everything up. Okay, I think I kind of have an idea as to how to do this. Although I feel like I'm not going to complete this on stream. So there should be like a pair of vertices that are always at the 5 cross sections. Yeah, this was the resolution. Trail resolution. Okay, there we go. The first vertex should always be just at wherever the wingtip is. The second vertex should just always be... Wait a minute. Okay. This is trickier than I thought. Hey, what's up? What happened to your hair? Air Force ROTC. They make me keep it very, very, very short. I don't look very good with short hair. Although the guy who cut my hair was very nice, it should be noted. I feel like I owe him that at least. Let's see. What on earth is going... I don't know what's happening with those. But we kind of have something sort of working. I will off stream probably complete these because there's a little bit more to this than I realized. What else to work on? I mean, I didn't have a ton of time to stream, so we're probably towards the end of it. But let's see. What else could I add? Looks kind of goofy right now. What else? Oh, I know. One of the complaints I had from someone who played this was they can't tell when they're close to the terrain because there's no shadows in this engine, and I'm not sure I want to add them because I feel like that'll take a chunk of performance. This is a browser game, and you very rarely see your own shadow when you're high up in the air. So one way to fix that is to make the terrain have some like discoloration. So we need like a noise texture. Do we have any? Test. Yeah, we need a noise texture. Berlin noise texture. Just like some generator. That's not the size I want. Okay. Download image. Sure. We have our noise texture right there. And then noise texture. We'll upload that. Actually, the terrain's gonna need. Do we want the terrain to own the noise texture or someone else? For now, we'll do the terrain. And then in the terrain, oh my gosh. Let's see, height map, discoloration loader, load texture from file, assets, height map. We can hard code this. Slash resources slash textures slash noise texture .png. All right. And then, well, it's probably smart to have that in its own asset as well. Discoloration. Map. We'll call it map. Resources slash textures slash what? Noise texture .png. Yeah, and then we'll just, oh, we have to now, gosh darn it. Terrain resource, yeah, we have to change that now, gosh darn it. String, discoloration map. Probably should be a different, like a 2-word thing, but I don't care. Assets, discoloration map. I think that is how we spelled it. It is, okay. And then we'll just grab this, throw it in here, and then when we draw the terrain, we will, let's see, graphics backend, use texture slot, texture ID slot, texture slot, height map 1. Well, wait, no, it would be discoloration noise texture, which by the way should just be called discoloration map. We renamed that. Oh my gosh. One day when I use like Emacs or something or Vim, that will be easier to do. U discoloration map, and then I think that should be pretty easy to work with for now. Let's make sure everything's working, at least in terms of like code functionality. Okay, that works. And then the color. Yeah, there we go. Wait a minute. We should have like a height color. I'll do that later too. But for now, albedo, shadow color, The albedo times what? We have a terrain UV here somewhere. Nope, it's just PUV. Okay, so it should be U discoloration map. Oh, texture, U discoloration map, and then PUV. Let's see. This will really make things way too intense, but oh no, that's a compilation error. Vec4 to Vec3. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's more what I was thinking. It's very, very dark though. Like, looks like this whole place got destroyed or something. That's actually kind of a cool map design though, I have to say. Let's see. Maybe multiplying it wasn't the play. Maybe the play was... Do you have multiplayer? No, I haven't added multiplayer. That's... Add multiplayer. No, it's a lot harder than that. But... What the heck is that? Okay, somewhere I set an alarm for something. It's probably nothing important. Discoloration map, PUV. The albedo is just green. So why is... Okay, maybe if we just add or something. I don't know. That'll make things really bright at some points, but... Why there is pass when you... Oh, the menu. That is a placeholder. But yeah, I mean, we're getting to the point where multiplayer will probably be the next thing to start working on. But when that, like, multiplayers, you know this, multiplayer is a massive undertaking. So I'll have to do it when I have, like, a real amount of time to devote. College is a very tedious and frustrating place. But that being said, you know, I don't know. But yeah, multiplayer is the next thing to do. I've spent a lot of time developing just the UI framework like this. I mean, all the UI is custom. Everything here is custom. That took a lot of time to make. I mean, the fact that like this border, this pixel perfect border shader, the corners, I mean, that was hard to make. All of this was hard to make. And the fact that like now when you press join, it actually works, you know, switching scenes, everything. So yes, we're getting to a point. Here's again, roadmap. I would like to first texture the plane a little bit. Maybe not. Maybe I don't even texture the plane first. But I want to get these wingtips working. And then once I have that, maybe get the terrain a little... Nope, the terrain's pretty solid as is. Honestly, multiplayer should be coming pretty soon. I say that and it could be a long time from now, but like... We're getting to a point where like, what's left to add? Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair confusion. But I don't even have, like, one thing, I don't even have a way to actually enter any, like, I have to program a way for this to actually read input. It doesn't. Like, it knows that it's focused on, but it doesn't read input because I'm using GLFW input management, which doesn't have a way to just read characters. And I can't use STD, you know, like, CIN because... If I do that, it blocks the rendering. Like, if I say, you know, read the characters from the keyboard, nothing gets drawn, because this is all a single thread. There's no multi-threading in this engine. Game logic, rendering, it's all on the same thread. So when I have something like that, it blocks it and everything crashes. So I need to figure out a way to do that. I want to keep this single thread, honestly. I mean, running in the browser, I don't need multi-threading. That would be a little obscene. So... Yeah, that'll be something. I have some ideas as to how I'm going to do that, but I will have to manually like check key codes, like what's been pressed at this moment. If it has been pressed, you know, add that to some sort of character buffer. So yeah, not fun. It's going to take a little bit to get that set up, which has to be done before multiplayer. So multiplayer is that thing that's always going to be getting closer. Like we're almost at the point where we can add multiplayer, but we're never. It's going to take a while. It's going to take longer than it should. But hey, you know, font rendering works. That was fun. This is JetBrains Mono. I can load TTF files. That's cool. You know? But yeah. There's been some huge performance updates massive performance updates. But why not multi-threading? I mean, it make it better. Well, the problem, when everything's on a single thread, it's very easy for me to debug. It's easy for me to work with. If I multi-thread it, I'll have to deal with asynchronous programming. And honestly, multiplayer is a big enough challenge on its own right now. Maybe I will at some point migrate the rendering to a separate thread. I mean, if it really comes down to it, but there's no reason for me to do that right now. Like, performance-wise, this is great. No problem. It runs on my crappy HP laptop perfectly. There's no reason to add multi-threading if I don't need it. But maybe that'll be down the road. But I want to avoid asynchronous programming as much as I can for the time being, if that makes sense. I think that's fairly reasonable too, honestly. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. Yeah. We can now fall out of the sky if we lose all our airspeed. But if I increase the throttle, it works. So yeah, I'll get these trails working. Once the trails works, then let's update the roadmap real quick. Firstly, I need to probably commit. No, I don't need to commit this just yet. But let's see, Trello. So roadmap wise, flight controls, they're not perfect, but they are good enough for now. UI buttons, good enough for now. Trail, VFX, and pressure VFX. We're working on those. But sometimes it's necessary. It will cause unexpected crashes. I know. Look, if it becomes a necessity, if it really becomes an issue, I will do it. But first, let's get multiplayer. First, let's get like an MVP out the door, okay? Then I can go back and change whatever I need. Clouds. We need to add clouds. I forgot about that. That's kind of necessary. Those will be fun. Those are all shaders and ray marching, but they will take a little bit. Honestly, clouds can probably come after multiplayer. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. It's a pretty solid state. Good enough for now. Yeah, that works. All right. Well, I think that's all for the stream, honestly. Yeah, I don't really know how regularly I'll be able to do this. Today I got a second to do it, but life's busy. I mean, my hair wouldn't be this short if it wasn't. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. This was fun. See y'all later.